Welcome to Becoming is Messy, where we dive deep into the journey of survival, transformation, and everything in between. I'm your host, Meghann Dawson, here to share the honest, unfiltered stories behind my own process of becoming. Life isn't a pretty and perfect straight line, and neither is becoming the person we're meant to be. Here, we embrace the ups, the downs, and all the beautiful, chaotic, messy moments that shape who we are. Whether you're in the thick of change or reflecting on past transformations, this space is for real conversations about what it means to grow, stumble, and rise again. So get comfy, settle in, and let's get messy. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Becoming is Messy. If you are in a season of untangling, rebuilding, or just learning to listen to yourself again, you are in the right place. Today, I get to sit down with someone whose work intersects beautifully with the heart of this podcast. Someone who knows that transformation is not about theatrics or complicated protocols. It's about presence, intuition, and the courage to follow what feels true in the moment. Let your inner voice lead. Our guest, Steve Roehm's entire body of work is an invitation back to the wisdom beneath the noise, the intuition beneath the script, the truth behind the performance. The episode is all about learning to trust that deeper signal and letting it guide you toward the shifts that you've been craving. Steve is one of the most sought-after hypnotherapists and transformational practitioners in the world, with more than 25 years of experience helping people create deep, lasting change. He's known for his bold style, grounded presence, and the signature method he teaches called conversational alchemy. His background is extensive: master hypnotherapist, NLP master practitioner, and social and emotional intelligence coach, certified master trainer, a global teacher with global impact. And through all of it, he brings a refreshing honesty that human change does not have to be dramatic to be life-changing. It just has to be real. I am so excited for this conversation. Steve, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, for today, help us just set the stage for our discussion and tell us a little bit about this current season that you're in.
The current season I'm in,
Let's start there.
I'm multidimensional, if you will, entrepreneur. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm an NLP practitioner. I just love helping people, and everything I do is grounded in that. And how can I help people improve their lives in whatever way they feel like they need in the moment? And sometimes in ways they don't know they need in the moment, too. So when you're really paying attention to the unconscious responses that people present, they present things they don't know they're presenting. And a large part of what I do is paying attention to those little cues and unconscious things that they give me, so I can help them move through their problems a lot faster than they could in a normal therapy. Most therapists really focus on problems. I focus on results.
Oh, yeah, that is fantastic. And I will tell you, with my own healing journey in the last few years, a few modalities I've participated in where folks actually were kind of watching my body as I was talking, and to be able to get to some of the bullshit and call out some of the things I wasn't saying or the things I didn't know to say has been integral in really advancing me forward. So I very much appreciate that that's part of your approach.
Yeah,
Of course.
and I hold the mirror up through them.
Yeah,
Some
that's
people
good.
enjoy the mirror and some people don't.
Yeah, well, here we love the mirror. We love real.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Every becoming story has its own messy path.
Oh my gosh.
What are the twists and turns that led you to where you are today?
Oh gosh. A lot. I
Yep.
was completely self-destructing 26, 27 years ago. I was smoking, I was drinking, I was doing drugs. I had all kinds of problems. I didn't like myself. I didn't like the life I'd created. Suicidal on a couple of occasions. And really found out I had a reason to live at one point 26 and a half years ago. And she's about to wrap up her master's degree at UC San Diego now. But this is when I looked in the mirror and said, okay, it's time for you to get your shit together, guy. I ended up getting hypnotized and walked away from a 2-pack-a-day habit, and it blew my mind. And really, I just wanted to know what had happened to me. I do that to me. And the next thing I know, I walked out of his house. There were a pack of cigarettes in my car. Now, this is really incredible. I'd tried to quit for 2 years. I couldn't do it. Or I didn't think I could anyway. Do it. And what I realized was it was me.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
right? Get into your unconscious, right?
I didn't have the reasons to do it right.
Yeah.
To do it before.
Fair.
And he probably could have slapped me across the face with a fish that day, and I would have walked out of there a non-smoker. But it was enough to lead me into discovery and wanting to know what had happened so I could understand more about it. And then I helped a friend of mine quit smoking, and then another friend of mine, and then a friend of his, and then I charged him, and that's kinda how the business began. But I was still living through the imposter syndrome. I didn't care. I'd let go of one problem, and,
Yep. Yep.
I hadn't cleared out the rest, which was a lot of guilt and shame from childhood that I'd been carrying around for a long time. Hypnotherapy really changed everything for me and gave me some new
Wow.
direction.
It's incredible. I heard, quite a few synergies in what you just shared. We have a blended family here in Madison, Wisconsin, and my husband's son, my bonus son, Mace, he's out in Boston, his first year in college.
Mm,
My biological daughter, Mara, she really was my shift to healing and doing better and kind of helping me with my own first step, not with
yeah,
smoking, but with alcohol and affairs and all the bad choices that I was
right.
making back then. But she is a senior, and we've been looking at colleges for her, and UC San Diego is one of the campuses we visited, and
It's
I
great
loved
school.
it. I am fighting for it. I feel like that's up there for me. She's kinda eyeing up Boston too, but I'll tell you that campus was something else.
My daughter goes and watches sunset every day. It's
Oh, I know,
incredible,
right?
the Pacific.
I mean, right there in La Jolla, I don't know if you get much better view than that. That library, I could have just, like, hunkered down there, and I definitely would have studied more if I had that view, back in the day.
Yeah,
I was isolated in Penn State. I didn't have an
okay.
ocean view.
Yeah, I didn't even make it through college. I
Yeah.
made college and spent a lot of time there, but I never really finished it because I never found
Yeah.
anything that really enticed me.
Right, right.
That
Yeah,
really
makes sense. It's not for everybody,
for something more, I was
Yeah.
always bored. And
Mm.
so I knew that there was something deeper in me that I didn't know how to access at the time.
Mhm.
It's what hypnotherapy helped me discover for myself.
I believe it. I feel like the first question I was gonna ask about your work was actually I read that it's helping break people out of rigid, scripted methods and really tapping into your intuition.
Mhm.
I love that. So, just curious, what first showed you that intuition is actually such a powerful tool in kind of carving out our paths?
My journey into hypnosis really started off with just a few books and learning how to do some things on my own.
So, once that kind of sparked that
Yeah, now I
curiosity, so
was
you started
aware of
learning
it
about it?
beforehand. I had somebody gave me a bootleg cassette in 1992 or 3 while I was still in radio back many years ago. The whole thing blew my mind because I didn't know it took me about 15 years to even find out who had recorded the audio. It was a really interesting experience because one audio started, and then a few minutes later, the whole thing transitioned, and all of a sudden, I'm in 2 different stories on either side of my head. It was really an amazing audio.
Oh,
As
incredible.
a guy named Lloyd Globerman, so for any of your listeners, if you're looking for really something that's incredibly fun to listen to, check out some of his work. But I think really what it came down to was I discovered the work of a guy named Igor Lidahovsky, who became one of my primary mentors and still a good friend of mine today. His work was conversational, and it gave me a new perspective on what hypnosis is, because I don't think hypnosis is what most people think it is.
No, I'm excited to hear that. So,
Yeah.
help us understand a little bit. What is
Well,
hypnosis?
most people think that hypnosis is somebody swinging a watch in front of your face and your eyes closed, remember
Yep.
anything, and you come back and you're clucking like a chicken every time a car horn honks or something. What I realized was that hypnosis is when your unconscious or your subconscious mind accepts an idea as a truth, whether it's a relative
Mm.
or so when you take it in that context, basically all learning is hypnosis. So you as a parent have been a hypnotist for years and realize it because
Fair, yes.
the principles and the ideas that you passed along to your kids, whether you realized it or not,
Yes, definitely.
became the foundation of who they are until they got to the point where they started questioning those things and found their own truths. And many times we come back to the foundational truths that we have, but the conversation can change everything if you know how to manipulate. I
Of
don't know,
course.
but it's a tool, so it really
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it depends on who's using the tool too.
Yep, makes sense.
Um, but it's when the mind is accepting a new truth. So when my clients come to see me, they're stuck in a truth, and it's not a truth. So I help them rediscover something that's more beneficial and contextually matches who they want to be in their future, rather than wallowing in the past and the problems that they think they have.
So I'm curious now. You're helping me already. I'm learning
Yes.
different than what maybe I had thought, but I'm curious with hypnosis then, is there also the potential for pulling information? So by being able to ask questions when somebody's under hypnosis to be able to
Uh,
access some of that, or is it truly kind of that planting of information?
well, let me change that context a little bit
Yeah,
under
please.
anything. I invite them in.
Oh, got it. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
For me, I bring people into the experience because
Okay. Yep. That makes
so
sense.
I drop myself into a state where I'm literally connecting directly with the unconscious mind, body language,
Yes.
micro expression,
Thank you for that.
the language, very specific language people use and how they use it.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
and there are certain deeper trances where you can pull information out, but quite honestly, we have amazing imaginations. So is the things that we pull out of somebody, is it actual truth or just their
Yeah.
perception of what truth is?
Kind of like when you're dreaming, and it's kind of
Yeah,
this abstract some of your subconscious might also be a little bit of that state where it's a little
and
bit,
memories are
eh,
plastic.
not everything's fact.
These are plastic, saying
Yeah, so
that
true.
memories of what we have through the perceptions and through the filters of our emotions,
Yep,
and our ability to even perceive whatever that truth is at that point in our lives. We may
yep,
not have enough resources to understand what's going on, like childhood traumas and things like that. And people will carry along traumas that they had when they were 4 years old and 45 years old. They come in to see me and they're still living through whatever truth their 4-year-old had developed.
yep.
So I help them find new perspectives and new way of looking at that.
That's fascinating. So now that we have a little bit of a clear understanding of what it is, can you share just some little bit of the highlight reel of you becoming a practitioner of that? How admit a misconception of mine about hypnosis was aligning it a little bit more with some of the more spiritual practices of
Mhm.
something that maybe people just are versus having kind of prescripted training and mentors that could teach it to you.
Oh, yeah.
What is the practice of learning to be in this space? What some of the things would that look like for you?
I think there's 2 different things there because they have to learn it. And the only way to learn it, the only way to really get good at hypnosis and hypnotherapy is to put it into practice. Just like anything else. If you want to master anything, you have to be willing to make the mistakes. Also be able to step back out of your own beliefs of what you think it is to accept what's happening in the moment. Because change only happens in the moment. And for me, it was really I studied Milton Erickson, who was really the grandfather of modern hypnotherapy. There were a couple of different schools back in the 50s, and Erickson was one of them. Neurolinguistic programming came out of his work.
Okay.
That was developed out of family therapy, gestalt therapy, and hypnotherapy. And so a lot of what I do goes back to some of the tools that NLP developed. For me, like I said, learning the conversational approach to it and being able to step back and realize that I don't have to put somebody into some trance for them to experience a profound change in their lives and a massive shift in their perception of themselves, what they can bring to the world, how they can bring themselves to the world, and the power they have within themselves, because we're all really amazing. Oh,
Yes.
so
So I'm curious of then, you know, I'm a coach, an empowerment coach. I really focus on helping women that are at crossroads in their life.
uh,
My framework is essentially a tool to help people go on the path to self-love, remove kind of their limiting beliefs that are kind of holding them back, making them stuck, making them feel powerless and victims to their day-to-day circumstances. There's many people like me that are focused on those things and just curious as a with a hypnotist background, what are some things that you can glean from that, that you want all of us, maybe coaches, to think about as we're, maybe not using hypnosis, but, very much with some similar goals of helping people with limited beliefs.
I would say you already are,
Yeah.
because if you're helping somebody change their perspective on themselves, then in a way you are already hypnotizing people.
Yeah.
Because I studied conversational hypnosis and NLP and different aspects of hypnosis, but I was always looking more for the conversational approach that was very organic, that people could experience without even realizing they're being hypnotized. So conversational alchemy really came from that idea. So what I teach is being very aware of the unconscious responses that people are presenting, using mind-bending language to break down the ideation, because our beliefs are stuck in the words that we use and we don't even know it. I want to do is people believe about themselves in the world so it shifts who they are and they have a different perspective on that. It really just kind of
Mhm.
opens up the field for them. So that's what mind-bending language does. And I got that from Igor. He was really instrumental in what I do. I saw some different possibilities than what he was teaching, and I became one of his trainers for several years. I taught his course 35 times, and
Wow.
I started recognizing some things that I didn't feel were necessary, and I found some different ways of approaching that. But if you're paying attention and you know how to break people out of the old structure of ideas they're stuck in, then it really does open up the field. And what another one of my mentors, John Overdorf, calls the trance of infinite possibilities. Uh,
Yes. Oh my gosh. So true. You're just saying so many things that are resonating with me. First of all, I did want to mention how much I love the phrase conversational alchemy. I too coined myself an alchemist. That's a title that I use for myself. I describe it more that I help people alchemize their pain into power. So
yeah.
much of my framework is not teaching people specific steps or anything. It's more so getting in touch with their own inner knowing, their own subconscious to be able to take control back of where they want to go in life instead of letting the world happen to them.
Gets,
Yeah, and I think freedom, I think, is one of those where freedom and openness, I think, are
yeah.
two of the states that if more people could allow themselves to get there, our world, I think, could be a really beautiful place.
I agree. And people get stuck in their ideas and their beliefs. And the thing is, when you're stuck in those things, you're looking at the world and yourself through filters.
Yes.
I saw Tony Robbins a couple of days ago say it was a little reel that I saw. And he was talking about, he had the guy who was talking to, he said, look around the room and find everything in your room that's red. So you look around the room and you start finding all these things that are red. You find things that are even similar to red, burgundies and maroons.
Yep.
But the thing is, as you're looking around at those things, what did you not notice?
Right.
Because you're all
Yeah.
people get stuck in these filters and
Yeah.
they expect the world to match their perception of it. They're
So
missing
true.
the rainbow that's already out there.
Yes, that's so true. That was gonna be my next question, that I think so many people use that language that they feel stuck.
Mm.
They feel disconnected from themselves, maybe they don't know who they are,
Oh,
they feel
it happens a lot.
anxious.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I just hear that so much. And from your perspective, what do you think is happening underneath? What's going on in our subconscious, do you think, that contributes to that disconnected feeling?
It's doing something for them.
Yeah.
Every behavior has a
Yeah.
benefit. Every
Yeah.
behavior, even the ones that are self-destructing. There's always something there that is benefiting them in some way. But the thing is, a lot of times that benefit is rooted in something that happened decades ago. And now they're not living up to the potential of who they are today because they're still stuck within those ideas and those filters. And it's still doing something for them in some way, but it's not serving who they are now. It's serving who they were back then. So when
Mhm.
somebody has a trauma, they may experience a fear of something. It's serving a purpose, but is it really benefiting them today? If somebody has a car accident, it happened 20 years ago, they may still physically even feel the reaction when they come up on that same scenario.
Yep.
And it's there to serve them. It's there to keep them safe and keep them secure, but it has nothing to do with the moment they're in. So,
That
yeah,
makes
want to
sense.
bring people back into now.
Yes, we have a thing in some of my trauma healing practices. A common thing we do is in the moment, if we have something that's triggering us and we have kind of an emotion that's bubbling up that feels uncomfortable, is naming, hey, that's 6-year-old me talking. What is me right now in this moment? Me right now in this moment is safe. Me right now is trying to bring it back to that. Fascinating, I feel like the ways there's crossover in the language that we're using is kind of neat.
I like to collapse the traumas.
Let's
So,
talk about that a little bit. What does that look like?
that may involve more trance work,
Yeah.
something a little deeper,
Oh, yeah.
because I have a toy box full of toys. So
That's great.
we need to play with in the moment. And
I
if
love
we
that.
can break down the experience that somebody had in the past, then it doesn't affect them today.
Yep,
Uh,
exactly.
a
True.
gentleman yesterday who was in the Marines and his drill sergeant ended up hurting him really badly just because the guy couldn't handle his own anger and physically hurt this guy. And because of that, he's been living through that trauma. So I actually took him back to that time and gave that part of him the perspective that he has now,
Yeah, that's good.
and then
And
he can look back at it and go, okay, that's a thing that happened.
yeah,
It's not who I am today.
that's right.
Something that went on back then. Now that I know that was a thing that happened back then, I don't have to live through it anymore.
Yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
So I'm curious, we talked earlier that a lot of times we can't name what the block
Mhm.
is. Thinking of your initial example with hypnosis, you wanted to quit smoking. That was a concrete thing you were working on. What does it look like for somebody who simply is just ambiguously stuck? They don't know why. Is it essentially starting to work with you and really that concrete is just I'm stuck? Or where do you start when there's
Uh,
ambiguity around
well,
what you're trying to dig into?
that's where the mind-bending language is really gonna come in.
Yep.
So when somebody gives me an idea of a problem they think they're experiencing, then I can help them break down the way they're defining what that is. And that comes down to syntax and changing syntax. It takes me about 6 days to teach the basics of this. It takes me roughly a year to mentor somebody before they're really good at it. And then it takes them many years after that to become amazing at it. Because I look at hypnosis a lot like music. I
Mhm.
can teach you a few chords today on a guitar, and you could literally go play AC/DC. You can, and don't get me wrong, they're a great band, one of my favorites. But if you want to be amazing at it, then you could literally spend the rest of your life playing a guitar. Of course, living in Nashville, I'm surrounded by amazing musicians, and all of them that are amazing will tell you they learn something new all the time. It really takes the dedication to get good at this, because there's a lot of and I'm going to use finger quotes now, a lot of hypnotists in the world that really have no idea what they're doing, and they're script readers, and they read at people.
Mhm.
Only when you're in the moment with a client, then you have the ability to help them break that down because you do recognize the unconscious responses and things that they're presenting. So when somebody comes to me with some ambiguous problem, it's probably going to come down to the mind-bending language and the transmutation, taking them from lead to gold, which is what alchemy really is ultimately. So they can be the gold in their life instead of weighing themselves down with something that's not even worth carrying anymore. It's so yeah, the approach that I'm gonna take is really in the moment. I never know how anything is gonna happen until we're in the middle of a session. We're talking a while ago, though, people sometimes they show up and they wanna talk to you before your podcast and figure out what they're gonna do. Who
Yeah,
knows where life is gonna go?
exactly.
So I have structure with my sessions.
Yeah.
It's again, I pull out a toy when I feel like it's time to use the toy.
Yeah,
And
yep. So it's so true. I often get as a coach, I'll get a quick message, that somebody is like, "What's your process and how are you going to help me?" And I know people want this very boxed in, easy answer. People hate phone calls and they just want but it really is. I need to know you. I need to have a conversation. I need to know a little bit about you because it's going to look different for everybody. It's not going to be this cookie cutter thing that's not going to be very effective for you.
yeah,
So I'm not going to do that.
I've helped a
Yeah.
little over 7,000 people quit smoking so far.
Yep.
So for
Well,
the most part, I have somewhat structured
oh, yes.
55% success on the first session,
Yep.
but how that first hour is gonna go, I never know how that's gonna unfold,
Yep.
what they need to help them release that in the end.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm just intrigued by is with hypnosis, when it's done well, like in your example, how immediate it seems to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with that, for somebody like me who's, very much believes in transformation and change is possible,
right.
the speed of it foreign to me. And so I guess where that brings me is just this wonder of since you've now seen that so many times from your own experience, what perspective of human change now is different for you because you've seen that it can be so fast?
Oh, if a trauma can happen instantly, we can release it instantly.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
I worked with a gentleman a couple of years ago, and his sister was a master's in psychology, and
Mhm.
he dealt with all this trauma, and he told her that we were gonna work together. And she said, "How long are you gonna spend with this guy?" He said, "1 session." She said, "There is no way you're gonna clear out a trauma in 1 session.
Yeah,
Years to do
right.
this." I'm like, "Don't tell me what you don't know how to do."
Right? That's so true.
Session and the childhood trauma that he had didn't
Yeah.
affect him anymore. So he still
Of
remembered it,
course.
but
Of
there's no
course.
emotional connection attached to it now.
Right. Yeah, I love how simplified you had, like the trauma can happen instant and releasing it can as well. I mean, that to me, I mean,
We're
that
amazing.
makes sense.
We're amazing.
Yeah, right? Our bodies are amazing to me.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
cool.
wanna limit somebody's ability to change when they can.
Right.
I'm not
I
gonna
love
be your
that.
therapist and you have to come see me every week for the next 6 years now. If
Yeah,
at
of
least in a half
course.
hour, then beautiful, move on.
Let's do it. Yeah. That is great. For those people that might be listening that don't have access to a great hypnotherapist yet. So, I feel like obviously they have access available. We'll put your information out
I work
there as
attorney
well as other.
online.
There you go. So we
I
have
even have an office
access.
now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you
Is there any kind of things that people can glean that they can maybe just do for themselves that are baby steps to address some of this subconscious stuff?
decide what you want and discover what really drives you. To be quite honest, you need to find somebody who
Yeah.
is well versed in helping you do that.
Yep. That makes sense.
Hypnosis can take a long time because that's what I do with the mind-bending language is I break down the experiences and the connections they have with those old subconscious beliefs.
Mm.
And you're not going to fool yourself, right?
Yeah,
There's
true.
no way you're going to confuse yourself out of the problem that you think you have.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
so true. Although I tried for 30 some years
oh,
to do
sure.
that. It didn't get me very far.
So did I, until somebody showed me I needed some outside perspective
It's
because I
true.
was living in my own cyclical thoughts. And to break out of that is really quite difficult. Find somebody who is well versed in neurolinguistic programming, somebody who has taken years to study how to help people change and let them help you.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, for how quick it is,
Yeah.
you could spend years in therapy. So
Thousands and
that's
thousands and
yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's pretty cool.
So
Yeah,
I
that's great.
try not to price out everybody.
You gotta have some customers.
I have enough clients to keep me happy. That's
That's
really
good.
all I'm said this is going on. I
Yes.
help people too.
These next few questions are a segment I call rapid reel, just some kind of quicker get to know you, little
Sure.
instinct kind of thing. So the first one is something you believed before you found hypnosis that you no longer believe.
That I couldn't change.
Mm, that's good.
That I was
That's
and
good.
I didn't see the potential within myself. I didn't know that I could be anything I wanted to be. People get so stuck in their
That's
own definition
powerful.
of themselves. You've only defined yourself based on the experiences you've had in your world so far.
Oh, yeah. So limiting. What's our favorite part of the work that you do?
The aha moment at the end when people go, "What the hell just happened?"
That's cool. Oh, a place where you feel the most grounded.
Ah, place where I feel most grounded. Probably on my Harley.
Oh, that's cool.
Better than a 5 or 600 mile day.
No, no, I miss it. I did have a convertible at once in my life, even though I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and I only got to drive it such a little part of the year.
Yeah.
There would be days where I'd be out and the sun would be shining, and I'm like, that's it, I'm gonna have the top down today. And it would be like 42 on, I would see the temperature, and I'd be like, oh man, I look like an idiot. I need to put the top up, but I'll tell you, having that fresh air is just
Yeah,
nice.
honestly, it doesn't matter to me what the weather is.
Yeah, I hear you.
I've hit 27 states so far.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
probably happiest is just being on my bike and being free and not having to think about anything except the wind out of
That's
the
cool.
motor and wherever it's gonna take me.
Is there a lesson that comes to mind that you learned the hard way?
Oh, a lesson that I learned the hard way. Let me flip through the book of hard lessons. There have been many. I think it just really comes down to the fact that we can change ourselves very quickly when we have the right help to do it.
Yeah.
Because I was so stuck in my own beliefs about myself and where I came from, because I came from a blue collar family. I didn't know I could be successful. I didn't know I could help people change their lives because I didn't know I could change my own.
Yeah.
And so I think all of those hard lessons have taught me more of that every time. We can really achieve just about anything we want.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's such an important point, and it's one of the things I love most about doing this podcast
Yeah.
is just exposing, the listeners that we have here to some things they might not have heard before and to be able just to plant seeds of possibility and educate folks on things they may never have heard about before. And I feel really excited to be able to bring that to people and be able to spark a little bit of potential and possibility in people's minds. I think that's really cool.
We have more possibilities than we know.
Yeah, true.
Because where people look for red and they forget the right.
Well, before we get to the last question, is there anything we didn't touch on? And then also just let folks know a little bit about how they can connect with you and your work. I'll also share those links
Yeah,
when I
okay.
post the podcast.
Anything. Realize you're more than you think you are.
Mm. Yep.
You have
That's
more
good.
possibilities than you can even imagine right now, because most people are stuck within the cages that they've built,
Yeah.
and they're just your imagination. So if you're going to imagine something and your unconscious mind is going to get stuck in something, it might as well be stuck in possibilities and potential, that you really can do anything you want in your life. Just
So true.
find somebody that can help you, number one, get past the things that you think you're stuck in, because most people just think they're stuck. And then
So
that
true.
creates their reality, at least their own potential reality. Yeah, so just realize that you can
It's
achieve
good.
anything you want.
That's good.
So open up your perception and open up your beliefs. And if you think that hypnosis is something that's scary, it's not. You've
Mhm.
already hypnotized yourself to believe the things you believe. So you might as well hypnotize yourself to believe that you can do anything.
That's good. And where would you like folks to connect with you?
The easiest way is NashvilleHypnosis.com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Great.
my phone. Feel free to text me.
Perfect.
Don't send me an email because I'm not going to read it.
Good to know.
Text is always the quickest way to get to me.
Good.
But if you need some help or just want to have a conversation about something, reach out and let me know. If I
That's
feel like
cool.
I can help you, I will. If I don't, then I'll let you know, because there are some things that are out of my wheelhouse too. And
Awesome. Well, we have listeners right now who might be in their own messy middle, might be feeling stuck.
yeah,
When you were in moments like that in your past, is there a piece of advice that you wish would have came to you sooner?
exactly what I just said.
Yep. Reinforce
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
Because
great.
the thing is, when we're depressed, the walls are closing in, but those walls are just your imagination and your perception.
Now,
And if you're living in your
it's
own
true.
cyclical thoughts, then you're not getting outside perspective. That can be very damaging and even destructive.
Thank you so much, Steve, for this conversation. I just loved it. And for our listeners, just a few tips to be able to integrate the listening to your own inner voice, just practicing some micro pauses before responding, deciding or reacting. Just take a breath, notice what rises, get curious instead of critical. I think it's key. Curiosity about yourself, curiosity about others, curiosity about the world. If we just picked curiosity over judgment, it would be a path to love for so many of us.
No doubt.
And last is following those small, honest signals. Your intuition is rarely going to shout, so get quiet and listen to those nudges. Let yourself just follow one of those gentle cues each day, and you'll get on your path. So, with that, thank you so much to our listeners and Steve for being here today, spending time with us. If you're in a season where your inner voice feels quiet or shaky, I hope today reminded you that the wisdom is there. It's waiting for you to slow down and listen. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who might need it. And if you want to go deeper into these themes, check out the first episodes of the show where I walk through the entire Imperfect Level Up framework and what it means to let your inner voice lead. Best to all of you. Look forward to joining you all next time. Thank you. Before we wrap today, I want to invite you to be part of the Becoming is Messy community. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And if there's anything that resonates with you, please leave a review. Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps other people find this community. Follow me on social media. I'd love to hear your ideas for future topics, your questions, and stories from your own messy moments. And if you're feeling inspired, check out the Becoming is Messy shop, where you can grab a mug, a t-shirt, or something else that reminds you to embrace your messy magic every single day. A huge thank you to the incredible Wolves and Sheep for providing the music for Becoming is Messy. Check them out on your favorite music streaming platform. As we close out today's episode, remember this: messy is just another word for growing. So keep showing up, keep laughing, and keep making beautifully awkward progress. Until next time, stay messy, my friends.